Season 11 of Barney and Friends, yeah, here we go again, always seems to find itself being dragged into the spotlight to highlight some kind of wild concept the team at the time tried to shove into the show. Whether it's everyone's favorite, least favorite, Pistachio, or all-time horrendous classic, Bop Till You Drop, surprise, surprise, something seems to be wrong with the approach. Enter Potful of Sunshine, a Barney episode that tries to attack the long-avoided concept of death. When I say long avoided, that isn't to say it was never technically brought up, though. Season 4's We've Got Rhythm does tell a story in which a butterfly is in mourning, but this instance is really the first overt mention where it's actually connected to the plot. It's no secret that Barney and Friends was often criticized for avoiding darker topics, and was compared hard to Sesame Street. And when I mean hard. It's physically impossible to talk about when kids' shows go deep without someone asking if you've seen how sad Big Bird was about Mr. Hooper. Yes, gang, I've seen it. I know. We do this every time. It is an amazing piece of TV history, but not every show can or should do everything the way Sesame Street did. Kinda dims that original spark. But does Pot of Sunshine fall in on itself the way the other Season 11 episodes do, or can it actually execute what it sets out to do? Let's take a look. The episode begins with perhaps the world's slowest game of catch for the poor NPCs of the episode who stand around waiting while Barney and Baby Bop throw exposition at one another and don't pass the ball. It takes until the chorus of Being Together for Barney to remember they're playing catch and toss the ball again. Guess we're learning about death and patience today, folks. Baby Bop chases after the ball after missing the catch so badly and stumbles across a lonesome flower, which might be giving some of you flashbacks to another lonesome flower. Let's not get too sad today. Baby Bop introduces the kids to her friend the flower and immediately gets judged super hard for it, but doesn't seem to care much. She's immediately taken with it and sings Barney classic Growing to the flower, which is a genuinely sweet moment when recontextualized for something Baby Bop already cares a lot for. The kids peace out for the caboose, leaving Baby Bop and Barney to take up the quest of getting more sunlight for her flower. Barney suggests potting the flower and placing it out in the sun. Baby Bop goes all out on looking after the flower and both bedazzles and reads it a story. After a Windows Movie Maker fade transition of indeterminate length, the flower has bloomed, and Baby Bop wishes it good night and tells it she'll see it tomorrow. Foreshadowing. The seasons change overnight, it seems, and piles of leaves blow through the otherwise pristine green grounds of the park. I hope everyone in landscaping is getting paid overtime for that. As revealed by an unfortunately mildly hilarious organ sting, Baby Bop is distraught to find her flower drooping and petalless. When she asks Barney what's happened, he tells her the frost of the cold weather caused the flower's death. It's a minor thing for anyone outside of the target demographic, but I do feel it was good to use the correct terms for what happened. Sometimes things happen and things die, but that's okay. Barney and the kids are immediately sympathetic to Baby Bop's plight. When Tomorrow Comes is honestly a really meaningful song and works to take this sort of pang out of the situation. The more flowery language works much better in a comforting song than it would have in Barney's explanation, and the line, "Learning how to say goodbye is another way we grow," ties the whole growing theme of flowers themselves, the earlier song, and Baby Bop's feelings together in a cohesive way that we really don't see all that often in these later Barney episodes. Baby Bop is reassured and supported by her friends who let her work through her feelings. The friendship song is pulled out from the classic tunes and starts slow but slowly works up, which kind of mirrors Baby Bop learning to deal with the sadness she may feel. Again, this is kind of tricky when your demographic is solidly under 5, so they're not stringing motifs together the way my English degree is, but they do get to see a pretty stable and reassuring view of the situation. I think they were smart to choose a flower and not a person or a pet to teach this lesson. While the flower is a living thing and is quite dear to Baby Bop, it's not such a harsh loss to shove onto the younger set. The episode seems to have just enough, and balances it really well with the comfort provided by the others. The comfort aspect of Barney and Friends is really the crux of why such a story never made it into the earlier seasons, where truly negative conflict was out of the question. Death was actually a suggested topic in the Yale studies of the first season of the show, so it wasn't like the idea hadn't crossed their minds, but they didn't feel they needed to make it, and that was a fair assessment on their part. They didn't need to, but somewhere along the line they did, and though it might break that cardinal rule, I think it's the best case scenario. This is not a Bop Till You Drop break, where the "don't be bossy" lesson is terribly mangled in its own morals, everyone is out of character, and there's a general negative through line. Barney remains the comforting, caring figure that he ought to be, and he both lets Baby Bop feel her feelings, but also tries everything in his power to be a good friend to her, and that is much closer to Barney's original portrayal. At the episode's conclusion, the kids show Baby Bop her flower in a book, which is a Gerber daisy, and she's heartened by Barney's reminders that there will be flowers once again in springtime. As mentioned before, I think this episode pretty much found the outer line of what Barney and Friends was really capable of tackling, especially at this time, and walked it competently. I'm not going to say we needed a ton of these episodes, but for what the episode is, it's good. These things can and will happen in the lives of the viewing audience, and while I do agree that kids should be kids for as long as possible, this isn't a bad way to introduce the concept. Barney remains the same unconditionally loving purple dino that can care his way through just about anything. And as always, if you're looking to learn more, don't hesitate to check out my friends at Barney Wiki and Barney History Fans. Thanks for watching.